12, Robert Celestial joins us in the KUAM News Link Zoom room here. He's with Pacific Area Radiation Survivors. Well, he practically is Pacific Area Radiation Survivors. Good morning, Robert.
Morning, Chris. How are you?
Doing pretty good. I'm always glad to get you on. You shot me a message. You told me that there was an update with this bill, and it's the RECA, it's the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act, working its way through the U.S. Congress. What is the new development, and how does it affect the journey to passage for this measure?
Well, Chris, July 9th this year, the RECA program sunsets. And sunsets meaning that it's supposed to end according to the amendment of 2000. And so we have two bills in Congress, H.R. 5328 that made it through Judiciary, as you know, and we have Senate Bill 2798 in the Senate that needs a Judiciary Committee hearing. So what happened is that Senator Lujan and Senator Crapo with other bipartisan committee has decided that since it might sunset and the bill might not get heard or passed, they sent a letter to the two leaders in the Senate and the House, Schumer and Pelosi, asking for an extension. And so what I did was I gave you the letter from Senator Lujan and Senator Crapo, and I just, if it's okay, I'd like to read the bottom part. It
Please do, Robert.
As we continue to work on a bipartisan solution to improve and extend RECA program, Congress must act to extend RECA before it expires. With many still sick and dying from the impact of radiation exposure, we must act now to ensure affected Americans are eligible to receive the compensation they need. And so with that, in closing in their letter, is that we're hoping and praying that with the new bill that's coming up, it's the budget bill, reconciliation bill that's coming up, that hopefully they could get an amendment to extend RECA, and hopefully to extend it for at least 2 years. And this is a good time to ask because of what's happening in the war with Russia and Ukraine, is because hopefully that after this thing hopefully gets ironed out somehow with Russia and Ukraine, that hopefully late this year or next year, we'll be able to pass our bill.
Robert, do you feel optimistic about it, or do you? Because you mentioned the Ukraine, and I'm kind of wondering, do you see something like this falling by the wayside, or do you think that it's going to be elevated even more because it deals with veterans and the military?
Well, we're always praying. We've been doing this for 20 years, and we've gotten this far. And Congress has heard us. The Democrats in the House with Jerry Nadler from New York, the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, got it out of committee. So now we're working with the Senate, where we're continuing to work. We're pounding Zoom. We're having so many meetings. Just had a meeting last week with Senator Ronald's staff, Chris Cryan and Jeff Hansen, and with two of our members from PARS. And it was a good meeting. We just asked her if she would co-sponsor Senate bill and to support Guam and the other states, and when it comes out of the committee. So I am always positive that this bill will get passed. I mean, they're spending billions and billions of dollars right now, and for 30 years of the RECA program, they've only expended 2.5 billion. And so in one day, they already spent, 20 billion just on armaments. And so this is just a drop in the bucket. So, but to help the people of Guam, especially those who've been suffering cancer and other diseases for so many years. And that's why we're fighting so hard with those from New Mexico, Idaho, Colorado, and Montana, and Utah. And so hopefully that we'll get this passed, Chris. There's always a plan B, plan C, and this is plan B.
So what happens if plan B doesn't pan out? What's plan C?
Well, in the beginning, there was a guy named Alan and Begay back in the 80s who took it all the way up to the Supreme Court and tried to sue the U.S. government. And the Supreme Court just gave them a writ of Satori saying that you're in the wrong venue. You need to go to Congress. And so they did. They went to Congress and they passed the RICA bill. And so for 20 years, we've been waiting. The National Academy of Science said that the people of Guam are eligible to receive compensation. And so since 2005, we've been eligible to receive this compensation. So Plan C would probably take it to court.
Robert, I know that we've been eligible to receive the compensation, but since 2005, has anybody from Guam actually received it?
No, it's just the National Academies of Science has said in their report to Congress.
Right.
Because in 2000, when he amended it, the RICA program, they left out New Mexico, Idaho, and Guam. And so when I went to the National Academies of Science to present our case for Guam, because Congress in 2002 reactivated the BRER Committee, the Board of Radiation Effects Research Committee, and said, go out and find out what other geographical areas to include in RICA. So that was 2002. So in 2004, I was invited to Washington, D.C. To present our case for Guam. So I presented our case and all the evidence before this group of scientists that was, which could have actually mandated from Congress. And so in 2005, a year later, Chris, they came out with a report. And in the report, it states that, yes, Guam did receive nuclear fallout from the Pacific Proving Grounds, which is Marshall Islands, and the resident Guams are eligible to receive compensation under RICA as downwinders. So that was the conclusion in the report to Congress. So ever since 2005, the National Academy has stated that Guam's eligible. However, in page 199, it says that if Congress so chooses to include New Mexico and Guam.
Got to read the fine print, huh?
Yes. And so we have the evidence, we have the conclusion. These are the highest scientific community that stated that Guam's eligible. However, it's up to Congress, and Congress moves very slow, as you can tell. However, all the evidence is there. We jumped through all the hoops, and now it's just up to Congress to decide whether to include Guam and the other states. And so that's why we're fighting so hard. I wish that it's been a long road. I mean, we have a congressman, we have governor, we have the support of the speaker and the legislature and the people of Guam. And so the Pacific Association of Radiation Survivors is a nonprofit organization, consists of families with cancer and really just grassroots people who believe that they have been harmed by the nuclear fallout that was in Guam. I just received a letter from a lady in Kentucky. Her name is Carol Ripley. And I asked her if she could send me a notarized letter that she sent on Messenger. She could send that and give it to me. And in her letter, she said that in 1956 and 58, her dad and her mom, and she was stationed at Anderson Air Force Base. She was a teenager. And her dad said that they had to stay indoors for 3 days because they were washing down the roof and watering the grass because of nuclear fallout. They knew that nuclear fallout was raining down on Guam. And so I said, could you please give me that as a sworn testimony, like Lieutenant Bert Driver? And she said, sure. And matter of fact, my mom and dad died of cancer. So here's other evidence that here on Guam in 1956 and 58, Anderson Air Force Base were told that, wash the roof of the housing and the area around you because we have been inundated with nuclear fallout. And didn't tell the people of Guam. But I thank God that Carol Ripley was able to contact me in Messenger and share that because she saw what we've been doing over the past years. And so that's why we're fighting hard. And we're going to submit her notarized testimony to Congress. And so the people of Guam really deserve this. And that's why we're fighting so hard, Chris.
Man, Robert, you sound pretty emotional, and I just got to again, every time you come on, I got to commend you because you mentioned we have a governor, we have a congressman, but I feel like you're doing more work on this issue than both of them put together. So when we talk about making that impact and getting that visibility in a perfect world, what would you want from our governor and our congressman relative to this effort? Like, what could they do
Well,
right now?
they have the power if they really want to take this issue and put it in the forefront. I know there's a lot of issues here in Guam. You know, we have COVID, we have PUA, we have all these issues. People can't pay their rent. Yes. However, really think about this. People in Guam, there's so many families that have died, so many families that have multiple cancers here on Guam, and nothing's said about it. We have so many renal care facilities here in Guam. Something's wrong here on Guam. People are getting sick, people are dying, people are leaving, people are having treatments in the United States. I received so many emails from families from Guam saying, "Hey, we're here getting treatment. We're here. We have to live here because we have to move here because of my cancer, my disease." And I don't understand why our leaders are just sitting back watching this as if a football game, and I don't understand. I really don't. I mean, our congressmen should be up there forefront, pushing this issue to the maximum. You know, helping. You know, really, I really don't understand.
Sorry, Robert. I'm sorry. I mean, it just it gets to me that, I mean, you nobody voted for you. You know, you don't have to be doing this, right? But I get why you're doing it, and I totally understand where you're coming from with how many of our people are sick, right? This island is sick and it's poisoned. And
Yes. And if they understood, if they pass this bill, you get free screening every year, free screening for cancer and other diseases, and free medical care for those who are eligible, and $150,000 to help those who are eligible. If they get adjudicated, they get $150,000 to help them with their bills, and then they get free medical care. That's going to help the people. It's going to help the economy. It's going to help so many things here in Guam. And so that's why, why I'm doing this is because I was stationed in Inuitak to clean up the nuclear waste out there in 1977 as a young soldier, and I was affected, and I got sick, and so they gave me a full retirement with 7 years in the military, and the VA has been helping me. I was diagnosed to die in 1996, and by the grace of God, I went into remission. I don't have cancer, but I have other disease. I have a liver disease, and I was supposed to die, and I said, you know what? The people of Guam really need this. If I'm going to be compensated, this is the same compensation that our people need. And how do you explain it? I mean, the people were exposed to nuclear fallout from 46 to 62, and was kept secret till 1994, Chris. It was only with the Human Radiation Exposure Advisory Committee that came out in 1994, wrote a book in 1995, and we found it through the Department of Energy that used to be the Atomic Energy Commission, and downloaded all the information, say, hey, wait, something's wrong here. And then got a sworn testimony, found Lieutenant Bert Schreiber, who was a biological, chemical, radiological officer here in Guam, stating that, yes, my Geiger counters were off the scale. The people of Guam are being affected, but I cannot say anything. I'm under acute clearance. Acute clearance is Atomic Energy Commission, top secret clearance, where he couldn't say anything for all those years. So how much evidence do you need, Chris? I really don't know.
Yeah, Robert, I feel you, and and I feel like it's not just the governor, the senators. I would really like to see our community organizers get involved with this. I don't want this to turn into something where, 10, 15 years down the road, we're introducing bills in our legislature trying to pay these people who are exposed to radiation, these people who got cancer. I don't want it to be like this war reparations where we're just paying it with our own money. I mean, we have a chance really here. I mean, there should be letters from the governor, the congressman. I mean, right now, right? And this is a crucial time. So I don't know. I know they're listening. Hopefully something gets done. It's that time of year. It's that year where things usually get done, Robert. So
It's an election year.
yeah, Yeah, it is.
It's an election year. Everybody's out there waving. Everyone's going to get their signs up, and kudos to them, And I just want to continue on and see this bill pass. That's all. I want to say that the speaker has done a lot.
Yeah.
She has done a lot. She has sent a lot of letters to every congresswoman and man and to the Senate. She sent all the packets from the public hearing. She sent the packets of all the testimonies from our group, and that helps. That helps because they're reading it.
Yeah.
They're reading it, and hopefully they'll make an impact.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
the congressman had just come out, and he's doing this joint effort with I think a congressman out of Hawaii, and then another congressman. So when I look at that, I see that the clout that he could have and the attention he could bring to this issue by rallying these congressmen colleagues of his, and maybe getting them to sign off on a letter. I mean, it's as simple as that.
yeah, it's simple.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something here in Guam that I remember in the beginning in 2001, 2002, our leaders at that time didn't want to do anything about it. They hid it, even our leaders. And the reason why is because of tourism. And then I said, what is your people are dying and you don't want to say anything because of tourism? No, it's going to destroy tourism. Well, look what happened today. COVID, it destroyed tourism. Are you still not going to move forward and help the people of Guam that have been dying and suffering? It's ludicrous. It doesn't make any sense. And so the people, you can't hide this. This is all in national news, international news, that Guam has been affected by nuclear fallout.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, the CNMI is going to introduce an amendment to try and get into the amendment. And so, because I told the CNMI, Chris, I said, because they called me and asked me for help. And I said, radiation don't go in a straight line from the Marshall Islands just to Guam. Common sense would tell you, that
Right.
everybody was affected in this area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Robert, thank you for your time this morning. I feel you're a little more fired up, and we're glad to get the message out and amplify your voice here.
Well, thanks, Chris. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And yes, I am fired up.
Good.
And hopefully, by the grace of God, all those Christians out there, support us. And thanks again, KUAM.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I hope that how fired you up are, how fired up you are. I hope it's contagious like COVID, and that I hope our governor and our congressman, I hope they catch what you got and spread it all
Yes.
around.
Yes.
Thank you, Robert.
Thanks, Chris.
Esther.
God bless.
You too.
All right.
Agamos. Robert Celestial, Pacific Association of Radiation.